in person on here. So
Oh, cool.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Hi everyone, good evening or good morning where Snehal is. So welcome back to Shy Together. I am your host and founder, Pratibha Day. You are tuning in for your cup of courage, hope, and imagination today. So today I am really excited because Mrs. Snehal Singh is here with us. And if those of you who don't know about her, it is really remarkable seeing her journey, as an author and then a coach and being South Asian as well. So I really look forward to hearing, how this all came about. So, how are you feeling?
Right now, just wakey early in the
Right.
morning. So that's all that I'm feeling, and I'm very
Mm,
excited to be here because we have been deciding this for a really long time. So I'm
yeah.
just excited.
Thank you. And I think both of us had sprained our ankles or something too. You did, and then
Yes, we
I
did.
did. Yeah. And I just want to let the viewers know that we met through Mr. Les Brown's Power Voice Academy. And
Yes.
this last Saturday, I actually went to go see him live in New York City and Johnny Wimbrey and a few other people. And he was directly across from me. And it's like, wow, the fact that I get to be in his presence at this age is just really nice.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. So, Mrs. Snehal Singh is a 10 times best selling author of The Shakti Awakening, 24 stories which will heighten your capacity to open spiritually, love deeply, and fearlessly and find your purpose. And it's now available on Amazon. She's also a publisher, abundance mindset coach, and a writer's coach. So where would you like to begin?
I don't know. You tell me.
Aw. So tell me about your journey here to the States. So you came to the States a few years ago, right? Yeah.
Yes, I approximately 5.5 years ago.
Mm.
Uh, that's when the journey of authorship actually began. Coaching was a little earlier than that. Uh, I was a coach for at least 2 years before making that move. But getting into the business of writing books or being a coach professionally, individually, and running that as a business, all of that started in the year 2016.
Mm.
So that was the initial phase. I was not ready for the move. I didn't know anyone except my husband. So that was my first block that I created for me, saying, I don't know anyone. How am I going to start a business? And, how do I create my identity all over again?
Mhm.
Because I was working with an organization before that. So um, that's where it actually began. And then mentors and coaches, how important they are. So one day, one one of my coaches actually said, I don't care, I'm coming to States, so you're going to make sure that you're going to show up there.
Wow.
And I don't want to hear that I don't know anyone anymore. I'm going to make you meet some people, so you'll at least have some friends here. So that's how I showed up, which eventually moved into me writing into the first book, that is 20 Beautiful Women. And from there, somehow this journey of writing began. So I would say, rather than me choosing the path chose me, and that's where the writing journey began. And September, the next month, 13th, we actually complete a year for the Shakti Awakening book, which has been
Wow.
my latest book. So yeah.
Wow. End of this month is 1 year for Try Together. Can you believe it? I've been doing this 1 year now.
Oh my God! Wow.
Right? It's so fast. Every
Yeah.
day. I've been doing Try Together like every day for 1 year. Look at that commitment.
I was about to say that. Look at the commitment, because it's not easy to consistently show up and do what you're
No.
doing. Okay,
No.
so yeah, I know. I have given up
Wow.
on myself so many times when I have to do this. So I know what you're saying, and trust me, it definitely needs persistence and a lot of commitment.
Wow. I do want to ask you, we were talking about belief a little bit. So, regarding your belief in yourself to be a coach in India prior to you moving to the States, right? Is that something that's common now and acceptable for women, or was your family, asking you questions like what are you doing,
I think they've always asked that question. So I'm going to not talk about that question part. But yes, I didn't choose to be a coach, to be very honest, because
Mm,
at that point in time, coaching was another certification. So I was a
mm,
freelance trainer, where I
Mm,
used to teach people on behaviors and skills and developing that. And coaching was just another certification so that I can tune in my training a little bit more. That is what
mm,
it was. I realized what it is when I came to States. And I can
mm,
do that as an individual practice was a big learning for me, because I always thought coaching is a part of leadership. And only if you're a leader, if you're a trainer, an instructor, or a manager in some company,
mm,
then you need to coach someone. So you need to learn coaching. And that was my goal, because I was working with corporates and I was like, okay, let's learn another skill. And that's how it actually got started. Coaching perspective in India has changed vastly, though in last
mm,
6 to 7 years. That is definitely there. Yes, earlier it used to be a part of something, and now the number of coaches are rising. And the awareness of coaching is also rising. Earlier, people were not open towards coaching, thinking that it's some kind of therapy or consultation. That perspective has changed. So there has been
mm.
uh, a huge shift that I personally notice. You're easily accepted as coaches. But yes, that question of, what do you really, really do? Um, I think my family at times doesn't get it, because they're like, okay, one thing that they've got easily is she writes books. So I
Yeah.
stick to that most of the times.
Aw.
So yeah.
Wow. I think it's beautiful you write books. Like, i- is the process hard for you to write, or does it get easier with each book?
I have learned with time that writing is the most easiest part of writing a book.
Wow. Yeah,
It's
I'm sure the
the before
publishing
and
and
the after
everything.
and the marketing and the publishing part and understanding is our reader. So all of that actually is so much more work that writing becomes the most easiest part of the journey,
Wow.
provided you have clarity. So everything comes down to how clear are you in terms of why you're writing the book. So the better the why, or stronger the
Wow.
why, the writing becomes an easy journey.
So how many books have you written now?
I have written two books that are whole,
Mhm.
and I've created four-book series where I
Wow.
have brought in book people together to write the book. And then I have co-authored books with different publishers and been a part of that. So, for example, the Shakti Awakening is also um, a collection of 24 women who have come together to share their part of the story.
Aw. Hi, Andrea. Thanks for tuning in. She said, yeah, a lot of people still don't know the benefits of having a coach and what they do. I saw your post where you didn't plan to have 24 women in the Shakti Awakening, right? It was supposed to be two people or something.
No, it was supposed to be 11, and then we
Mm,
decided on the number 24. But the
wow.
journey to find 24 women has been 24 months. So we
Wow.
decided, we got the first four women to be a part of the book without having cover or anything.
Mm.
And then we just didn't find any women, to be a part of it. Somehow the energies didn't match, or the storylines weren't, as
Only
we
if you
wanted
knew
it to
me.
be.
Only if you knew me then.
Yes, I think, yeah, the book launched just a month after, or a
Mm,
month and a half after we met. I think so, yeah.
mm.
So that the journey of finding those perfect fit women, who were ready to, or who matched with the energy of the book, that journey took the longest.
Wow.
But it was always supposed to be a co-authored book. Yes, yes, yes.
Wow. Wow. How does it feel to know that you do all of this? Do you feel like it's real for you? Like that you're known now? Like, how does it feel? Like, you know?
I don't know, because most of the times I try not to focus on that, and I focus on what I'm supposed to do. And with the
Mm,
person that I am, once any project is over, I quickly move on to another one. I don't have the patience to wait. So that at times hasn't given me an opportunity to sit and understand
mm.
or see what has this given me. However, I would definitely say, Pratibha, that to a greater extent, yes, at times I do wonder, how did I make that happen? Like, where did it all come from? And that's where, we always say that the divine works for you more than you actually
Mm.
work towards it. So yeah, at times I do wonder, how did that happen? So yeah.
I can definitely see you as an author and a coach. Like everything you do, you definitely fit it. Like I don't see you doing anything else because that's how I know you too, you know? So is there
Yes, and
anything, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
And it's surprising that, all I have done ever in whatever kind of work I have done, whether it was even working, as a school teacher to even working with, BPOs,
Yeah.
I have always ended up being in the training department. So I think, and that's where, if anyone asks me, have you ever done anything that you don't like? I don't think I've ever done anything that I don't like or I'm not interested in. So I
Wow.
realize that now, but I have never, forced myself to do any kind of work that is not of my interest or
Oh
something
my
that I
God.
enjoy doing.
I think it's just a bomb drop. Like that is so big because a lot of people do, all the time and they're miserable. I feel like you've come this far because you just believe in yourself so much. Do you feel like you had the confidence from a young age? That's why you're able to do all of this as an adult.
I, if we're separating confidence from self-esteem, then yes.
Mm.
So if I know something that I want to do, I will just go ahead and do it. I've not been the person who would take permission or cross-check or verify. I'll take an action first and then go think about it. That is who I have always been. Somewhere I do take pride in it because all the decisions that I've taken intuitively have always worked out for me. Anything that I've thought over, contemplated, verified with 10,000 people, it has not worked out for me. So, yes, that has been there. If I intuitively feel something and I cannot shake off the feeling, I will just go ahead and do it.
It's like you trust yourself.
Yes, I trust my intuition definitely.
So when did you realize that? Because this is what you teach.
I realized this very recently. Okay, when all the
Wow.
questions started coming in, when I officially started getting into the mode of, say, communicating publicly with people or doing these, lives or conversations, that's when these questions, when they came in, I started thinking. Otherwise, I just did my work and never thought about, or I didn't even
Wow.
look at it. Yes, it did happen, in certain ways where people always said, you wouldn't understand, you've never done anything that you don't like. And I'm like, huh? That's not true. I do things that I don't like as well. But I have come to realize that it's true to a greater extent. I mostly don't do anything that I don't like.
Yeah. So do you feel like the things you don't like, that's more so, maybe your family wants to do something you don't, you go do it, like little things like that. That's like what you
Mostly
don't like.
little things like that,
Yeah.
because otherwise I've always gotten a lot of support from my family. No questions in terms of, what you're doing, how are you doing it, you should have, a job instead of a business.
Mm.
I have never had those kind of questions, to be very
Yeah.
honest. My challenges have been a little different. The challenges have been more self-created, is what I have realized, and I've been working through that. I'm still working on it.
Wow.
But that support has been there. I wouldn't say that as I said, they don't understand my work, but they don't question my work, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
As long as she's making money.
I think that's also true. And to a certain extent, it's like as long as she's busy, because if I'm
Yeah.
not busy, then I am all over everything. And
Getting
I
in
think
other
that's what,
people's work.
or doing their work for them. So
Mm.
they like when I'm busy and I'm doing my own things. So yeah,
I like how
it
you
works
said,
out for me.
like we're bilingual. Like sometimes our Hindi comes out as we're
It comes
speaking
out,
English.
yes.
So funny. And so I want to ask you, what project are you working on now? Are you more focused on coaching?
I am working on a project. I'm
Mm.
going to reveal it in September, but it is another book coming up, which is again co
Wow.
authored. And it's way different than anything that I have done so far.
Wow.
So that is all I'm going to say. In
Yeah.
terms of coaching, many things are happening. I am moving towards teaching and neuro linguistic programming as well as a part of coaching. So
Mm.
that is new. And of course, setting up Mind Spirit Works in India is the goal. So,
Wow. Wait,
yeah.
first I want to ask, you said you're introducing neuro linguistic.
Neuro linguistic programming.
Yeah, what is that?
Neuro linguistic programming is how you communicate with
Hmm.
yourself and with others. It's a study of your thoughts and actions.
I'm interested.
So, So neurolinguistic programming is the best thing that ever happened to me in the year
Wow.
2010. Okay, that's how I was able to shift from that space of self doubt, working on self esteem. I didn't know how to be
Mhm.
myself. I was always
Aw.
the being in the shell kind of a person. So neurolinguistic programming helped me change that. It helped me change the way I was thinking, perspectives, and now I'm ready to teach it. So it
Wow.
did take me a long time to come to that realization that I can teach it too, because it's very detailed. There are too many layers to it. So
Mm.
yes,
Someone, Andrea asked, is it similar to emotional intelligence?
in a way, yes. It's emotional intelligence is a part of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a very little part of it. It stems from the same way of looking at life and the way human brain or mind works. Uh, but there is more to it. It is related to how
Yeah.
you take in information, how do you
Mm-hmm.
process it, and then how do you see the world and how do you portray. So neurolinguistic programming says that every word that we choose to say, it does not come by fluke. It is somewhere rooted in our beliefs. So even when we see things in humor, there is a
Mm-hmm.
reason where it comes from. So
Yep.
there is always more to what is being said, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the study of that.
I really like that. So it's your subconscious, the study of why you have the thoughts you have in your subconscious. Something
It's
similar.
more than finding the why. It's about how
Mm.
can I change it and how
Oh,
can I upskill
yeah.
myself. So if there has been any dream that we want to achieve and it's
Mhm.
not done yet,
Yeah.
okay, do we always know somebody who has made it happen? We do, right? So neurolinguistic programming came from the study of understanding how is somebody successful at doing something, and
Mm.
finding out what was different about them in terms of thinking, physiology, so
Mhm.
on, and then adapting that to create the same success formula or your own success formula using those steps. So that's
I
how
like
it got created. And now it is more about, and now it has, become such a beautiful study that you understand yourself so much better. Understanding the world becomes more easier.
that. Mm. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. You learned that in India.
I learned it when I was in India, yes.
Yeah. And that's so you took a program with someone else there.
Yes, I did take a program with Reena Jabran, who is my mentor for neurolinguistic
Mm.
programming.
Yeah.
And it was a residential course then, 8 days of. She has a different style of, training and teaching. So it was not a classroom study. It was more of
Mhm.
wake up at 4 in the morning, go for a walk, tell me what you saw, what you heard. And, the three things, what did you see, what did you feel, what did you hear? So
Wow.
it stemmed from that. And that's where I fell in love with neurolinguistic programming. So most
Wow.
of the things that I do definitely have a little bit of touch of neurolinguistic programming.
Mm. I have one last question about it. Are you able to share, who founded this, you know?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Richard Bandler is the guy who actually found it.
Mm.
He didn't find it, so I would say it's a discovery.
Yeah,
So
discover.
we have been doing things, and success has always been into picture for decades,
Mhm.
centuries since existence. But he was the one to figure out there is a way to study this
Mm.
and implement it. So if there is a fastest runner, studying why he is the fastest runner,
Mm.
what is he doing differently, and how can I implement that skill to upgrade my skills. So
Mm.
Richard Bandler is the one who started this. John Grinder helped him in writing, so they both came in together to write this and create this study for us.
Yeah.
So that's how it actually began. I think it began in early 1970s.
Mm. It reminds me of, how Napoleon Hill studied the 100 successful people and
Yes.
then thinking
So
from,
that's how
yeah,
he did it. He
yeah.
started. He was, I think, in the California University, and he was
Mm.
given a task of listening in to, I don't remember the name, to study a therapist, and he was listening into the recordings. And as he was listening into the recordings, he started realizing that he was also changing the way he was doing therapies. And then he was
Wow.
surprised. How did that happen? I'm just listening in, and that's how it got him curious. And then he started studying big people like Victoria, who was an amazing therapist at that point in time, and then Milton Erickson, and then he created the study over a period of years or decades.
Wow.
So yeah.
I do want to go back to your book and I want to ask you because I recently had a guest on and she wrote in her divine time. Like she's not a writer, but she would wake up at 3 a.m. and she was called to write. She didn't see what she's writing, but she was sleepy, but she was writing. Next thing you know, she kept doing it every day. And then she had a book and she didn't even read it until the end. But you know how you say your spirit is called to do that, and that was her time, she feels, right? So for you, how was that? Because you weren't a writer before, right?
I
Yeah.
still don't feel I'm a writer to, so many
Can't believe
times.
it.
uh, but the Shakti Awakening actually happened or came from a space of just realizing. So, coaching conversations, there was this time where universe wants to give you messages and you don't take it. So, multiple clients that I was having were having same conversations, and I realized that, and most were women. I realized that they all are looking for freedom to some extent, okay,
Hmm.
but they're looking for approvals, and this approval has already been given. Like most of the times when it went back to, I will talk to my husband or my family, and they said,
Yeah.
oh, we were waiting for you to say this. There is no restriction, and that was a setback that, I wasted 5 years, 3 years thinking, or 10 years, or an entire life thinking that you
Hmm.
are not okay with it. So that was the moment where I learned or decided that, we have to do Shakti Awakening, because it is not the world to give us power anymore. They've already, accepted that women are powerful and they're ready to do, and they have what it takes to do what they want. We need to change the way we were molded and created,
Wow.
and change the way we looked at things. So that's where it stemmed from. And fortunately, we found amazing women. None of the stories are correlated or anything. Like, you look at every individual story, each story is different,
Hmm.
okay, and we didn't intend to do that. Like,
Wow.
we didn't go looking for, okay, we have this story, let's find this. It didn't happen. Like, each and every story ended up being very different from each other. So yeah.
And you said it took 24 months for 24 women.
Yeah, it took me nearly 2 years. It's the longest I've ever taken for any book to, collect the number of people
Wow.
and put them together.
Did you
So
want to give
yes,
up? Like, did you want to give up?
somewhere I didn't.
Mm.
And I was glad that the women who joined me way before the cover was even designed, they were patient enough. Every time I said, I don't have the people yet, what do you want to do? They're like, it's okay, it will happen. It will happen in the divine time. No
Mm.
one ever questioned me, which is a normal tendency, with co-authored books. When is our book launching? What
Yeah.
are we doing? I've submitted everything. So none of these questions actually came in throughout the journey of Shakti Awakening.
Wow.
Not a single author asked me to go, and that was the evidence or the validation that the energy was just perfect.
Mm. I wish I could say the same about ours for the hunger for the hustle. I know some people are curious. Ours is with we're waiting for Mr. Les Brown to write the foreword for the hunger for the
Yes.
hustle. But everyone is it's not the relationships like how you have, you know, with the women, and it's just your project is more aligned, right? Shakti Awakening. Like, how did the name come about?
So the Shakti Awakening was a Facebook group that Pradnya and I had already created.
Mm.
Okay, and it again came from the space of giving global Indian women a space to share, just share themselves and connect and just speak their hearts out. So
Mm.
that was our Facebook group earlier. And then every time I was thinking of doing this project, the only name that kept coming to me was the Shakti Awakening. So that's when I had that conversation with Pradnya. Are you going to be okay with we using the same book name? And then she also joined in the project. And it it just matched our vision, because her vision and my vision of working with global Indian women was so much in synchronicity, or even it till now it is so much in synchronicity that it just worked out and it just felt right. So we didn't really do a lot of thinking around it, to be very honest.
I feel like you have such a great group of people, like great group of ladies. So everyone in the group, were they all just free from the beginning, or were people like resistant to tell, their truth and share, because it's a platform, right, for women to open up and share, but some may be hesitant due to their families or, the traditional ways. Did you ever experience that? What will my
Yes.
parents think, my husband, all that, right?
So and I think that is a part of every co-authored book,
Mm,
or even any other book also that authors want to write. That inhibition of what will people think,
yeah.
and how will my closed ones? Because when you're sharing story, of course, your closed ones are part of the story, whether you want
Hmm.
it or not.
Hmm.
So those questions did arise, and most authors of the Shakti Awakening were not authors before that. So they all were writing for the first time. So while it was a journey of learning how to write and put everything in one chapter, it was also that inhibition. But I think eventually we all cracked it. It was like, no, my intent is to connect with other, women who are probably going through this and what I have gone through, and I'm ready to help them. And I think that got everyone to share what they really wanted to share.
Wow. Do you want to share some of what you've gone through?
This book is the only book that does not have my story in it, but does it definitely
Wow.
has my sisters and my mom's story in it. So they are also amongst the 24 women.
Mm,
Um, I would just say that for me, the journey has been more towards the fight, towards the thought process. Okay. I was not okay as a child to believe that just because you are born in, say, a lower middle class family who have some basic struggles of our basic things, food, water, shelter, these are the basic
yeah.
struggles that, or basic needs of you, of a human. And every time I heard that, this is how it is, this is how it is going to be, we don't have this and we'll never have it, it just didn't fit well with me. So my fight with the societal norms or even the family thought process was mostly related to the thoughts. And I
Wow.
was like, it is not possible. How can you say that just because I was born in this environment, I have to stick here and live here? And that's where somewhere the rebellion in me always, got activated at times. But that's what got me through that quest of finding out, is this really true? Can I really change my life or not? Is that in my control or not? So that's where the journey began. And that was my biggest struggle. It was fighting with the thought processes that already coexisted and they didn't match with mine. And then therefore, the
Mm,
disconnects we have, and the disconnects are painful, right? People you love the most disagree with you on everything, is not an easy journey. So that was my biggest struggle, apart from many other things, which again, as a child, that you go through, which is again eve teasing, those things. I think somewhere I've forgotten now with so much of healing that I've done.
oh,
uh, but that has definitely been a part of my driving force of figuring this out, in terms of why we go through what we go through, and can we change that. And again, that's where the love for neuro linguistic programming as well. If I can change the
wow.
way I look at things, the things I look at change. That's what Wayne Dyer says, and it applies very beautifully in our lives. So yeah.
I was so captivated by, what you were saying that I forgot about the neuro linguistic aspect. I just liked hearing your story. And that's how you know you're great, is when you don't settle for the less, or you don't settle for your circumstance. If you've seen the movie Gully Boy, you remember what he
Yes.
said to his dad, that people know me, they will remember me for this. I actually ended up saying that to my dad, because he's like, chai together. Like, are you profiting from chai together? They're just, I'm like, people know me for this. It's like saying the Gully Boy dialogue, like, after I leave, this will impact people, my videos, that I'll be known. So I just find it to be incredible that that was always inside of you, and look at you now, all that you've achieved. It's because, even with Les Brown, right? It's because he started at a young age as a child. Like, I'm not going to settle for this. I'm going to buy my mom a house. I feel like when it's programmed inside you, like innately, like that's what you're born to do. Like, maybe your spirit, you may know more about, spirituality than me because of the realm that you're in. But yeah, I do want to know, regarding the spirituality aspect, meditations and everything. Have you studied with, any gurus, or done any work of that sort?
Spiritually, there I haven't reached yet.
Mm,
Okay, my way of meditation is cooking.
wow.
That's
Oh,
the way I disconnect from the world, find my own
yeah.
answers. So for me, meditation is cooking.
Mm,
I do short meditations, but I haven't reached the space yet where I can just sit. The ideal way of meditation. So my definition of meditation is doing something that you love so much that you do get lost in it, or you feel so blissed that you forget the entire things around you. the other definition that I define as meditation is being watchful of your thoughts. Okay,
Wow.
it's about being aware and being witness to your thoughts rather than being consumed by your thoughts, and that you can do any time of the day throughout the day, and that is meditation for me. Looking at me, I think I can't sit quiet and chilled out for
Yeah.
so that's not my way of meditation. uh, but yes, that I haven't
Mm,
gotten on that path yet.
mm. I'm so happy we met. I really
I
am. This is
know.
nice. And
But then see how the pathways meet, right?
yeah.
Those are the only two programs that I did live, two meetings that I did live. And apart from that, I went back to the recorded meetings because my timings did not match. I was teaching class at the
Mhm.
same time. In that one meeting, I met you and we connected. So there is a reason behind this. I think it will reveal with time whatever the reason is for
Aw.
what we met.
Who knows? Maybe you'll write a forward in my book one day.
Oh, I would love to. So far, I haven't done that. So, yes, I would love to.
That's so funny. That's so funny. I want to know, like, do you have a big dream? Like, do you have, or are you just, joyful with whatever you're doing now, or do you, think about later, or do you just stay in the now?
I do stay in the now, but there's always a
Mm,
bigger picture that I'm working towards. That's why I
mm,
can't settle for, what I have. So, yes, there are bigger dreams. However, I've learned to make the most of that or to reach there. Being in the now is
mm,
more important. Okay, I have been a person who has lived in the past most. Okay, and coaching has helped me edit and change that, being more aware
yeah.
of where do I live in? Am I talking a lot about past, or am I talking a lot about today and
Hmm.
tomorrow? So I do live in the moment,
Mm.
but my eyes are always towards the vision that I want to accomplish. So yeah.
Wow. So I know earlier you mentioned you want to open your program in India, right? Can you tell us what that's called again?
Uh, I want to set up my publishing setup in India as well. So Mind Spirit Works is my name, is the name of my company, which I
Mm,
intend to set up in India as well to again promote authors which are local and who want to express and share. So that's one of the goals that I have. And the program that I do, which again is now getting introduced in India, is my Right to Abundance program, which is for coaches and entrepreneurs and authors to help them establish their branding and create a business. So Right to Abundance next batch is actually starting on September 10th. So
Ooh.
that's what is the goal.
So for September, that's when it's starting, and how long is it?
10th September it starts. It's a 8-week
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
So it's an 8-week program which will probably end in November.
Hmm.
And yeah, the journey's online. The classes happen every week once, around 1.5 to 2 hours long.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's an amazing journey so far. I personally enjoy it because it's interesting to see how the content or the topic remains the same. However, the journey of every entrepreneur or the coach or the author who is logged in and is asking questions is so different. While it looks similar, the solutions that they create for themselves are so different. So
Wow.
it's like there is one formula, but so many variations to the results it is creating.
Yeah. And so it's entrepreneurs, authors, and coaches, all
Coaches.
three are your niche, right?
Yes,
You know how
yes.
they say, because I know Les Brown did say master three things. You in order to master something, it should be three, like one to
Three,
three
yeah.
things. So I think that's really interesting to have coaches, authors, and entrepreneurs if they're just doing that, or a combination, because the questions they can ask to you about author. You're an author, coach, or entrepreneurship, all three. I've never heard anyone say that. I think that's fascinating that you're having a call for all three things, right?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. And I'm glad it's an hour and a half to 2 hours. That would take some time because they'll be all different. And this way, people can also learn, about entrepreneurship, coaching, and being an author. Even if they're not ready to be an author, that seed will be planted. And then subconsciously or through neuro linguistic, they will be able to do that. I think that's really cool.
Yes, because it is an intensive program. What you learn in the 8 weeks, okay, is more than enough for you to not only take your brand to the next level, but establish your business in 6 months. So I give you all
Wow.
the tools, and then it is up to you how fast you use them
Take
and which car
action.
you want to drive. So, yeah.
I like that. So how fast did you move? I know you said you just do the work and then you think about the rest after. I think that's great. Cuz you get it all done. So like do you move fast like in business and everything?
I feel I do at times,
Mm,
which is the feedback that I've gotten most of the times.
yeah.
Because before the end of the project at hand, I always have the next one in my mind ready. But that is who I have been. I like to keep my mind engaged, and
Mm,
there's this characteristic of certain people, right? I'm always excited when the project is new, and to keep that excitement going until the project ends. Because earlier, I had a tendency of starting something and never finishing it as a
mm,
child as well. I would start something and I would never finish it. So this is the way I found as a solution for me to keep my excitement level going. If it's going high, then even the projects that I've started would always reach the finish line.
wow.
Okay,
Yeah, I had
so
that concern too. Yeah.
so this way it works out for me to keep my I work the best when my energy levels are the highest. And for that
Yes.
I need something new going in. So this is my way of
Mm.
finding something new all the time so that everything reaches its stage of completion.
Do you feel the neuro linguistic program helped you with this to complete your
Yes.
projects?
Definitely, definitely. It
Wow.
helped me adapt to certain things which were not a part of me. Or, at times we say things like, I don't think that's me. I don't think I can build rapport with anyone and everyone. I don't think I can have a conversation. So, all those inhibitions, I started realizing how untrue they are until I implemented it. Okay, so
Wow.
I always thought I'm a very introvert. I don't think I can have conversations. Forget sales. I'm good at teaching. Don't ask me to sell. I have done all of those conversations. Neurolinguistic programming had helped me move from there without changing who I am
Mm.
and yet deliver and get the results that I wanted. So yes,
Wow. You are who you are. And
yes,
I feel like it's all just about taking action. Just put yourself out there, keep doing it. Like I've been doing this for a year and something will come through. Like just
absolutely.
do it every day. Like whatever, do something every day to keep moving forward, you know?
One
I think
action
it's
step
amazing.
every day. And that's why we say, like, law of attraction also works when law of action is in sync with it. If you're only doing law of attraction without doing the law of action, uh, it's
Yeah.
like asking for a lottery ticket, winning a lottery ticket without buying one. So
Mm,
yeah.
I like that. This is especially going out to the Indians who always talk about lottery. Aw. Hi, Parm. Thanks. Wow. Wow. Hmm. Would you like to share anything else with us?
Mm, I would actually like to ask you something.
Oh, okay.
So I did hear you speak about a book. Now this is the curious Snehal asking, what do
Mm.
you intend to write? Or when do you intend to write? Either one, answer whichever you feel like.
Yeah. So I actually started writing a book about my abortion experience. And it just came to me. Like you said, divine. I don't know. I just started typing, 5 pages came out in like, I don't know, it felt like 5 minutes, very fast. I don't know. And so it's called Brace for Impact, how to cope with abortion with gratitude and resiliency. And this is a project that I'm working on. And it's amazing like how it just flows when you're called to write something, because you know what, when I was going through that time, especially being South Asian, and I terminated my pregnancy my second trimester with identical twins. And when I googled for some resources or someone who's been through this experience, I found nothing. Like no one has put their voice out there. Abortion books, everything is more religious and Christian related. I haven't found something that's a real story telling me what happened, how they overcame. And I'm like, I am that story, you know? So I'm like, I believe I went through that and survived so I can share that for women who go through abortion and are quiet about it. So after I shared about my abortion last year, a lot of women, well, not a lot, but some women were messaging me, even friends of mine who I never knew had an abortion, because they never felt comfortable sharing because
Sharing.
I hadn't been through it. So they don't want to tell the secret, or they don't want to do an interview because their parents don't know, because it's such a like a shameful thing, for a woman to go through that. So even with my family, being Indian, they didn't want me to talk about it, just be quiet, get married. No, like, don't tell your husband, your future husband, like, act like it never happened. No, it happened. You have to feel your feelings, you have to voice your story. And this is for a reason, that I have a power voice, and I talked
True.
about this in my speech. And I have courage, hope, and imagination. That's why I started Try Together, because it takes someone like me to speak up. Like, I don't have fear inside of me, especially since that experience. Like, fear died, like, I
True.
knew me was reborn, because as a woman, to go through that experience, that, as a mother, to go through that experience, I feel like the worst has already happened. So now it's just like the goodness of it. What am I doing with it? So, oh,
Wow. That
thanks.
is a very powerful book.
Yeah.
I
I can't,
I can't wait to read it.
right? It's amazing. I don't know how I was like looking. I was like, I wrote 5 pages. When you write a school essay, you're like, oh my god, like, and I'm like, wow, like, it's just coming out of me, because I'm so passionate about what I went through, and people need to know, as a woman's body, especially with 2 children, how much I suffered, what I experienced, and the support was not there, and everything that I went through. Like, people need to read my story and know to respect women, because my child's father, he left me during that time, and I was pregnant, I was alone, I was homeless, I had no money, I was in another country, and he was drinking at a concert, that kind of behavior. And this is so men and even women can respect their bodies more, because we give life. And what my body went through, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People don't understand the severity of a woman's pregnancy, I believe, when they go through that. So, yeah.
Oh my God, that is definitely, it's way beyond power, because I know the hush hushness that is always
Hmm.
around this topic. Then there is an assumption that you're pregnant, so it's natural, it's going to happen. Like, I've seen many people even talking to a pregnant woman saying it's okay, you're pregnant, so it's natural, it's going to happen. Yes, it is natural, it's going to happen, but I am going through it. Okay, so
Yeah,
I know what you're saying, and especially with the abortion journey. Oh my God, I can't wait. So whenever you're ready to launch it.
I know. So, can I ask you, have you
Hmm.
experienced that?
Unfortunately, no.
Mm,
I am hoping that I experience
pregnancy.
the pregnancy
Mm,
soon, but not yet,
mm.
not even once. So unfortunately, I've never gone through that experience.
And
But I
is
do
it?
envy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna say infertility.
No, there is no scientific reason, which is weird,
Okay.
right? All my
Maybe
reports, all
divine, the
yeah,
spirit.
that's what. So even the doc, when we went to the fertility doc, the doc kept saying,
Mm.
"I'm not really sure what's up," and I'm like, "I know, so it's okay." So yeah,
Divine time. I
it
know
will happen in the
people.
divine
Yeah.
time.
And for me, that was my time. It wasn't it was during trauma, but it was supposed to happen, because I started Chai Together because of that. I had a dream about Chai Together with a baby in it, and then I sketched it out, and then I started Chai Together also because of my mom. But it it was a blessing, because if it wasn't for the abortion, I don't think there would be a Chai Together, you know?
True.
So, yeah, and for you, there's people who get their tubes tied, and there's people who, are told they never get pregnant, and then they do. So no
Yes.
doctor knows anything. Like,
Any in this case, I think it is completely
yeah.
your journey, and also I personally believe that a soul chooses
Yes.
where they want to get born. So
Yeah. Sadhguru
probably
said that. Mm-hmm.
I am not ready yet, or the soul is not ready yet. So either
Yeah.
ways, I'm going to keep my mind open, and that's about it.
Aw. I love it. I love it. Thank you for your time here today on Chai Together. And thank you for
Absolutely.
those tuning in. You can find Snehal and her book online on Amazon. It's Snehal Singh, The Shakti Awakening, and SnehalRSingh.com. That's
Yes.
SnehalRSingh.com. Enjoy your day in India.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, my day has just begun, and I know the day that has ended. So have fun, and thank you so much for
Oh,
this. It has been an amazing conversation.
thank
Thank you,
you.
thank
I'm
you,
going to
thank
go back
you.
to writing that book.
Yes, please. Yes, yes, it's definitely needed, darling. It is definitely needed.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.